Hello friends, imagine you are building a bank application. A user deposits 1 lakh rupees into his account. But because you used a wrong data type, his balance becomes a negative 50,000 rupees. Sounds scary, right? This is exactly why data type exists in Java. So what is a data type? Think of it like a container. Different containers stores different things. Some stores numbers, some store text, some store true false values. So data type simply tells Java what kind of data we want to store and how much memory is needed. In real backend systems, choosing the correct data type is very important because it directly affects memory uses and application performance. For example, when we design database tables or entity classes in Spring Boot, selecting proper data types is extremely important. So why do data type exist? Different types of data need different storage. So can we store age, name and login status in the same type? No, right? Because they are different kinds of data. Like suppose we want to store age, so we will store it into integer. Suppose we want to store name, it's a string, so we store it in a string. Suppose we want to store true false value, then we store that in boolean data type. So next is memory in computer is limited. Now imagine again if I store age using a very large data type unnecessarily, I am wasting memory, right? And if I store a very big number in a small data type, it may overflow and becomes negative, just like our bank example. That's why in real backend system, choosing the right data type is very important. So next is proper data type improves performance. So in real industry, choosing correct data type can improve performance, reduce memory cost, and it prevents production bugs. In Java, data types are divided into two main categories: primitive data types and non-primitive data types. Primitive data types means whose size is fixed, and non-primitive data type means whose size is not fixed. So primitive data type is divided into two types: boolean type and numeric type. Under boolean type we have boolean data type, and under numeric type again it is classified into two types. First is character value and second is integral value. In character value we have character data type, and in integral value again it is divided into two categories: integer and floating point. In integer then we have byte, short, int, long data type, and in floating point we have float and double data type. So this all covers primitive data type. So primitive data types are most basic building blocks of Java. They store simple values directly into memory. So non-primitive data type include string, arrays, object, etc. So non-primitive data types are more complex. They don't just store a value, they store references to objects in memory. For example, a string store text, an array store multiple values, a class represent a blueprint of an object. So non-primitive types allows us to model real-world entities like user, account, products, or order. So in simple words, primitive data type stores simple values and non-primitive data type stores complex structures and objects. So now let's see primitive data type details. So first data type is boolean, whose default size is precisely not defined, whose default value is false, and is stored into two values, true and false, and its corresponding wrapper class is boolean. So what is wrapper class? Don't worry, we are going to cover into further videos. Next data type is character, whose default size is 2 bytes, means 16 bits. So its default value is a blank or null character. It ranges between 0 to 65,535. Its corresponding wrapper class is character. So next data type is byte. Its default size is 1 byte, means 8 bits. Its default value is 0. So here there is some small mistake. It's minus 2 raised to 7 to positive 2 raised to 7 minus 1. So remember this. So it ranges between minus 128 to 127. And its corresponding wrapper class is byte. Next data type is short. Its default size is 2 bytes, means 16 bits. So its default value is again 0, and it ranges between minus 2 raised to power 15 to positive 2 raised to power 15 minus 1, whose corresponding wrapper class is short. So we have a next data type called int, whose default size is 4 bytes, means 32 bits. Its default value is 0, and again here a small mistake. It ranges between minus 2 raised to power 31 to positive 2 raised to power 31 minus 1. and its corresponding wrapper class is int. So next data type is long. Its default size is 8 bytes, means 64 bits, and its default value is 0. So it ranges from minus 2 raised to power 63 to positive 2 raised to power 63 minus 1, whose corresponding wrapper class is long. Next data type is float, whose default size is 4 bytes, means 32 bits. Its default value is 0.0, and it ranges between minus 3.4 E38 to 3.4 E38. E means exponential number, and its corresponding wrapper class is float. So next data type is double, which default size is 8 bytes, means 32 bits, and it also has default value of 0, and it ranges between minus 1.7 E308 to positive 1.7 E308, and its corresponding wrapper class is double. So this is just a small difference between primitive and non-primitive data type. So primitive data types is predefined by the programming language, and non-primitive data type is defined by the programmer. It stores simple values and it stores complex values. It supports specific operations. It supports multiple operations. It has a fixed size, and it does not have a fixed size. And examples are integer, character, float, double, boolean. And here examples are string, arrays, objects, and list. So friends, we have completed the theory part. Now let's move into the practical example of it. So I have created a class called datatype example with a method main. Now I will show you the data types that are actually used daily in real projects. So let's see first the primitive types. So first I have created a boolean variable is user logged, whose value is false. So in almost every backend system, we use boolean variables like is user logged, or is payment successful, or is email verified. So most application depends on boolean values. So now next is character. It is used for storing single characters. Like here in this case, I have created a character gender called M. But apart from that, there are also other characters which we are daily using in projects, like instead of gender, we are using grade, status code. So though not used frequently, it is useful when only one character is required. So now next is byte. So byte is rarely used in modern backend systems. So I have created here a byte login items whose value is 3. It is used in small counters login items. So now next is short. It is also rarely used in modern backend system. So here I have created a variable short variable branch code whose value is 101. So you can use short variable when you need to create some codes like branch code or any other codes. So similarly, if you want to create user ID, you can use int data type. If you want to create a phone number or transaction ID, you can use a long data type in project. If you want to calculate some discount percentage, you can use float data type. If you want money calculations like balance or price, like amount balance or product price, you can use double data type, and many more. Now let's move to non-primitive types. So if you want to create some email ID, original email ID, you can use string data type, where you can pass your original email ID of your project. And if you want to use a list of user roles, then you can create a string array of roles, and you can pass the list of roles inside the array. So at last we are printing all the values defined above. So let's run this program and see the output. So after running the program, we can get this output where all the primitive type values are there, and also non-primitive data type values are there. So friends, in real industry, choosing correct data type can improve performance, reduce memory cost, and prevent production bugs. So friends, if you are new to my channel, I am creating Java tutorial videos from beginner level, and that too from scratch. So if you don't want to miss any update for my upcoming videos, don't forget to subscribe my channel. Also like, share, comment on the content if this video bring out any benefit to you. Happy learning with Java, and see you in the next video.